you've been a community leader here in St. Anthony area for a long time. What's the community vibe like here now, in terms of the spirit and thoughts about the next generation and all that stuff, and what it's doing to the community?
Well, I think, you look at myself, a lot of my friends, a lot of their vacation time and traveling time revolves around getting to Fort McMurray or getting to Deer Lake or St. John's or Edmonton or somewhere else. The generation after us has moved away. By and large, along this coast and in this community, you could almost be firm in saying that generation has moved. There are some young professionals, that move back here, teachers, people working at the hospital and whatnot, in that, where their parents are here and their grandparents are here and they're living here, but that's a small amount compared to the number of people that are left and gone away.
Right, and what has that done to the community? What signs do you see of how it's changed St. Anthony area?
Well, I think, as an example, I do believe last year in kindergarten there was 9 students signed up for kindergarten. This year I think it was a little better. I think somewhere around 20. As a comparison, my granddaughter started school in Deer Lake with 93 in her kindergarten class. We had 4 guys in a remote cabin over the weekend, and everybody with a couple of kids. And the conversation got to a point where we were wondering if we're going to keep this cabin up, because there was none of our kids going to be coming back to enjoy this cabin that we enjoy now. Whereas, if the kids were still there, we'd be looking at probably making a long-term investment into keeping the cabin up for the next 50 years. But we can see whereby when we're finished with that cabin, that's the end of the use for the cabin. There will be no one, to use it, because the kids will come back maybe. They may come back and visit, but they're not going to come back and keep up a remote cabin in the woods. So, a lot of us can see where, when we go into the John M. Gray Seniors Home in 15 years' time, then we're going to be very lonely. We won't be as fortunate as my grandmother was. She had a son and a daughter, 6 grandchildren. I think it was maybe 4 great-grandchildren, that were visiting her, on a daily basis. There were people in and out of the room all the time for her last years. But for my last years, unless I move out of here, I won't have a soul come visit me, and that's from my generation. That's just not me. I got lots of friends, and that we talk about the same thing, like who's going to come down and bring us a meal or come in for a chat. There'll be no one. It's kind of scary. And you just got to try to keep optimistic that things will work out, and some people will move in and people will move back, but you got to be blunt about it, and you got to be realistic. That and I'm sure this is not fooling anybody by saying that you can see the writing on the wall in a lot of cases around on the whole peninsula, where you go to a meeting or you go to a wedding or you go to any type of thing, and you look around the room, and where's the 30-year-olds and the 40-year-olds, like there's 50s and 60s and 70-year-olds? That's who's left in the communities. So go figure what's going to happen. What's going to happen in 25 or 30 years.